Hey coin lovers! Welcome to the Worth Old Coins channel, your place to discover the hidden value and rare facts about old coins. In today's video we're revealing the top 5 valuable coins, and one of them might just be in your collection. So don't skip this video, let's find out their real worth. Top 1. The 1988 British 1 penny is a small bronze coin that represents both the long tradition of British coinage and the late 20th century modernization of the United Kingdom's currency. With a face value of just 1/100th of a pound sterling, it might appear humble, yet it carries the image of Queen Elizabeth II, linking it to more than a millennium of monarchic history. The year 1988 lies well into the decimal era of British money. The United Kingdom adopted decimal currency in 1971, replacing the old pound-shillings pence system with the simpler 100 pence pound. Every 1 penny coin issued since then has served as a tangible symbol of Britain's commitment to a modern monetary system while still honoring centuries of royal heritage. The obverse, or head side, features a finely detailed portrait of Queen Elizabeth II wearing the George IV state diadem, the magnificent diamond crown traditionally worn for the state opening of Parliament. This effigy was created by the British sculptor Raphael Maklauf and introduced to circulating coinage in 1985, remaining in use until 1997. Maklauf's portrait is slightly idealized, showing the Queen with a serene, timeless dignity rather than capturing every wrinkle of age. Around the portrait runs the Latin legend Elizabeth II Dei Gratia Regina Fd, which translates to Elizabeth II, by the grace of God Queen, Defender of the Faith. The date 1988 appears below the bust, anchoring the coin firmly in its year of minting and making it part of the long chronological sequence cherished by collectors. The reverse, designed by heraldic artist Christopher Ironside, displays the badge of the Prince of Wales, 3 elegant ostrich feathers encircled by a coronet. Across the feathers stretches a ribbon bearing the motto Ich diene, a German phrase meaning I serve, which has been associated with the Princes of Wales since the 14th century. Beneath the badge is the denomination 1 penny written in full rather than numerically, a stylistic choice that lends the small coin a sense of ceremony and tradition. This design emphasizes continuity with the monarchy and the heir to the throne, making even the smallest coin a miniature heraldic document. Technically, the 1988 penny was struck in the traditional bronze alloy of 97% copper, 2.5% zinc, and 0.5% tin, the same composition used since decimalization in 1971. Each coin weighs 3.56 grams, measures 20.3 millimeters in diameter, and has a thickness of about 1.52 millimeters, with a plain edge free of milling. This warm, reddish-brown metal develops a gentle patina over time, giving older examples a character that appeals to collectors. It is worth noting that later, in 1992, the Royal Mint switched to copper-plated steel for 1 penny coins to save costs, but the 1988 issue still belongs to the original all-bronze era, which many numismatists consider more attractive. The Royal Mint, located in Llantrisant, Wales, produced these coins in very large numbers to meet everyday demand. Official mintage figures for the 1988 1 penny reach into the hundreds of millions, ensuring widespread circulation throughout the United Kingdom. Because of this abundance, most pieces encountered today are well worn and worth only their face value. However, uncirculated or brilliant uncirculated examples, particularly those taken from official mint sets, retain a bright original luster and can command small premiums among collectors who seek to complete year-by-year runs or who appreciate the Maklauf portrait in pristine condition. Beyond its metallic details, the coin reflects a cultural moment. In 1988, Britain was nearing the end of the transformative Thatcher decade, and the Queen herself was in the 36th year of her reign. The Maklauf effigy captured an image of continuity and stability, projecting an unchanging monarchy even as the nation experienced rapid economic and social shifts. For everyday users, the penny was a practical tool feeding parking meters, making exact change for buses or newspapers, but it was also a daily encounter with national symbols of service, duty, and heritage. Today, the 1988 Elizabeth II 1 penny endures as more than a trivial coin of small purchasing power. It embodies the fusion of modern decimal currency with centuries of royal tradition, the artistry of mid-20th century British designers, and the long story of Queen Elizabeth II's record-breaking reign. Whether discovered in a jar of old change, preserved in a collector's album, or studied for its rich symbolism, this little bronze disc stands as a tangible link to the United Kingdom of the late 1980s and to the enduring legacy of Britain's late monarch. Top 2. The 1977 British 1 penny occupies an interesting place in the story of modern British money. Struck only 6 years after the United Kingdom's major shift to a decimal currency system in 1971, it is part of the first generation of coins created for the new pound pen structure. The same time, 1977, was the year of Queen Elizabeth II's Silver Jubilee, marking the 25th anniversary of her accession to the throne, while the regular one-penny coins of that year did not carry a special commemorative design. Their date alone connects them to a moment of national celebration when the monarchy's long continuity and Britain's embrace of modern decimal coinage came together in everyday life. On the obverse, or head side, appears the second definitive portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by the sculptor Arnold Machin OBE and introduced to UK coinage in 1968. In this profile, the Queen wears the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, a delicate diamond headpiece that gives the coin an elegant and distinctly royal appearance. Around the portrait runs the Latin inscription Elizabeth II D.G. Reg. FAD 1977, an abbreviation of Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith. This concise formula expresses centuries of constitutional tradition and religious symbolism in just a few letters, linking the modern decimal penny to Britain's deep historical roots. The reverse, created by heraldic artist Christopher Ironside, presents the badge of the Prince of Wales. 3 white ostrich feathers emerging from a coronet. Across the feathers lies a ribbon bearing the motto Ich diene, the German phrase meaning I serve. Beneath the emblem appears the denomination 1 penny written in full rather than numerically, a distinctive choice that lends even this smallest coin a sense of formality and respect for tradition. The design acknowledges the heir to the British throne and reinforces the connection between the coinage and the monarchy's line of succession. Technically, the 1977 penny belongs to the first bronze series of decimal coins. Each piece was struck in a bronze alloy of 97% copper, 2.5% zinc and 0.5% tin, giving it a warm reddish-brown color that deepens gracefully with a GEDIT. Weighs 3.56 grams, measures 20.3 millimeters in diameter, and has a plain edge without milling. This composition remained standard for the 1 penny denomination until 1992, when rising copper prices led the Royal Mint to adopt copper-plated steel. Collectors therefore prize these early bronze issues as representatives of the original, heavier standard. The Royal Mint, by then relocated to its modern facility in Llantrisant, Wales, produced the 1977 1 penny in very large numbers to meet the needs of daily commerce. Official mintage exceeded hundreds of millions, ensuring that the coin was a common sight in purses and tills across the country. Because of this vast output, circulated examples typically hold only face value today. However, pieces preserved in brilliant uncirculated condition, especially those taken from 1977 mint or proof sets issued for the Silver Jubilee year, carry modest premiums and are sought by collectors assembling year-by-year decimal collections. Beyond its physical details, the 1977 penny captures a snapshot of Britain in a year of celebration and change. Street parties, pageantry, and the Queen's nationwide tour marked the Silver Jubilee, and this small coin quietly circulated through it, all passing from hand to hand as a humble witness to the festivities. T embodies the successful adoption of decimal currency, once a radical reform, while maintaining the ancient symbols of monarchy and national service. The Machin portrait, still youthful and elegant, reflected a monarch who had guided the nation for a quarter of a century and would continue to reign for decades more. Top 3. The 1986 British 1 penny represents a mature stage of the United Kingdom's decimal coinage, introduced just 15 years earlier in 1971. Although the coin's face value is only 1/100th of a pound sterling, it embodies centuries of royal tradition combined with the practical, modern design of the decimal ERA-BY 1986. Queen Elizabeth II was well into the 34th year of her reign, and Britain itself was in the midst of profound social and economic change. Against this backdrop, the humble bronze penny remained a constant presence in everyday life, from bus fares to corner shop purchases, while carrying on its small surface symbols of national continuity. The obverse or head side bears the third definitive portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, created by the British sculptor Raphael Maklauf and first introduced to circulating coinage in 1985. Maklauf's effigy portrays the Queen wearing the George IV state diadem, the magnificent diamond crown she traditionally dons for the annual state opening of Parliament. His design is notable for its elegance and slightly idealized character. The Queen's hair is styled in a classical sweep, and the facial features are softened, conveying timeless dignity rather than literal realism. Around the portrait runs the Latin legend Elizabeth II Dei Gratia Regina FAD 1986, which translates as Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen Defender of the Faith. This inscription links the modern coin to centuries of English and later British monarchic tradition, while clearly marking its date of issue. The reverse side retains the design created by heraldic artist Christopher Ironside for the decimal series of 1971.AT. Its center is the badge of the Prince of Wales, consisting of 3 white ostrich feathers emerging from a coronet. Across the feathers lies a ribbon bearing the motto Ich diene, a medieval German phrase meaning I serve, long associated with the Princes of Wales and, by extension, the heir to the British throne. Beneath this emblem is the denomination written in full 1 penny. The choice to spell out the value rather than use numerals gives the coin an air of formality and emphasizes the British preference for tradition even in the smallest unit of currency. From a technical perspective, the 1986 1-penny coin is struck in the traditional bronze alloy used for all UK pennies from 1971 until the composition change of 1992, 97% copper, 2.5% zinc, and 0.5% tin. Each coin weighs 3.56 grams, measures 20.3 millimeters in diameter, and is about 1.52 millimeters thick, with a plain, smooth edge. This warm, reddish metal gradually develops a natural patina, giving older examples a pleasing, deep brown tone valued by many collectors. Because the switch to copper-plated steel would not occur until 6 years later, the 1986 issue belongs to the classic all-bronze era of decimal coinage. Production was carried out at the modern Royal Mint facility in Llantrisant, Wales, which had been fully operational since the early 1970s. The Royal Mint struck hundreds of millions of 1986 pennies to satisfy daily circulation needs, using high-speed presses that ensured sharp details and consistent quality across the massive output. As a result of these large mintages, circulated examples are still abundant today and typically trade only at their face value. However, coins preserved in brilliant uncirculated or proof condition, especially those drawn from official mint sets, can command small premiums among collectors seeking pristine specimens or complete year-by-year decimal collections. The historical context adds another layer of interest. Britain in 1986 was experiencing the economic and political currents of the Thatcher era, marked by privatization, technological change, and a redefinition of the nation's role on the world stage. Yet amid these transformations, the coinage remained a reassuringly familiar emblem of stability. The Maklauf portrait, introduced only a year earlier, symbolized a monarch who was both enduring and modern, presenting Queen Elizabeth II with an almost timeless grace that resonated with a public negotiating rapid change. Top 4. The 1992 British 1 penny stands at a turning point in modern British coinage, marking the end of the classic bronze era and the beginning of a new metallic standard. Although it carries the smallest denomination of the pound sterling system, 1/100th of a pound, this coin reflects a subtle but historic change in the nation's circulating money. Since decimalization in 1971, United Kingdom pennies had been struck from solid bronze. By the early 1990s, however, rising copper prices made that practice costly. Beginning in September 1992, the Royal Mint quietly introduced a new copper-plated steel composition. As a result, the 1992 issue exists in two distinct metal types: the traditional bronze pieces struck earlier in the year and the newer copper-plated steel coins produced after the transition. Collectors prize the year for precisely this reason, as it documents a significant shift in British minting policy. The obverse head side bears the third definitive portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, created by the sculptor Raphael Maklauf and first adopted for circulation in 1985. Maklauf's effigy presents the Queen wearing the magnificent George IV state diadem, a jewel-encrusted crown traditionally worn to open Parliament. His design is both elegant and slightly idealized. The hair is swept back in soft curls. The facial lines are smoothed, and the overall effect conveys a sense of timeless dignity. Around the portrait runs the Latin inscription Elizabeth II Dei Gratia Regina FD 1992, which translates as Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen Defender of the Faith. The date 1992 is positioned directly beneath the bust, anchoring the coin firmly in its moment of transition. The reverse tail side continues the design conceived by heraldic artist Christopher Ironside for the decimal series introduced in 1971 AT. Its center is the badge of the Prince of Wales, composed of 3 white ostrich feathers rising from a coronet. A ribbon crosses the feathers bearing the motto Ich diene, a medieval German phrase meaning I serve, long associated with the Princes of Wales and, by extension, the heir to the British throne. Beneath the badge appears the full denomination 1 penny, a deliberate choice to spell out the value in words rather than numerals, a small but telling gesture toward British tradition and heraldic formality. Technically, the coin's dimensions remained constant despite the change in metal. Whether struck in bronze or copper-plated steel, each piece weighs 3.56 grams, measures 20.3 millimeters in diameter, and is about 1.52 millimeters thick with a plain edge free of milling. The difference lies beneath the surface. Bronze pieces are an alloy of roughly 97% copper, 2.5% zinc, and 0.5% tin, whereas the new type is a mild steel core coated with pure copper, giving it the same warm reddish color, but a slightly different electromagnetic signature, which is why vending machines and coin sorters quickly learn to distinguish them. For collectors and historians, The year 1992 therefore provides an opportunity to compare the look, feel, and even magnetic properties of two metallic eras side by side. Production of the 1992 penny took place at the Royal Mint's modern facility in Llantrisant, Wales, which had by then been in full operation for 2 decades. Mintage was immense, hundreds of millions of coins to satisfy everyday demand and to ensure a smooth transition to the cheaper composition. Because of these large numbers, circulated examples of both bronze and copper-plated steel varieties remain common and typically hold only face value. However, uncirculated coins drawn from Royal Mint proof and mint sets, especially the early-year bronze strikes, can carry small but notable premiums among numismatists who appreciate the year's dual-metal significance. The historical and economic context of 1992 adds further depth. Britain was emerging from the turbulent economic period of the late 1980s and would soon confront the fallout of Black Wednesday when sterling was forced out of the European exchange rate mechanism. Against this backdrop, the humble penny symbolized both stability and prudent adaptation, a government quietly reducing costs while keeping the public experience of coinage unchanged. For ordinary Britons, the penny continued to serve everyday functions, feeding parking meters, rounding out change at the newsagent, while for the Royal Mint it became a case study in efficient resource management and cultural terms. The 1992 penny reflects continuity amid change. The Maklauf portrait conveys a serene, almost timeless monarch, while the Prince of Wales badge on the reverse links the coin to the line of succession. This combination of enduring royal symbolism and practical innovation captures the essence of late 20th century British identity, respectful of tradition yet willing to modernize quietly when economics required. Top 5. The 1979 British 1 penny belongs to the first generation of decimal coinage introduced in the United Kingdom in 1971. Although its face value is just 1/100th of a pound sterling, the coin reflects a careful balance of modern monetary reform and centuries-old royal tradition. By 1979 decimalization had become familiar to the public, and the bronze penny was a well-established everyday coin. Yet each piece still carried symbols of the monarchy and the nation's history, making even the smallest denomination a daily reminder of Britain's heritage. This particular year sits at an interesting historical moment. Britain was emerging from the economic turbulence of the late 1970s and approaching the beginning of the Thatcher era, so the coin quietly witnessed a time of change. The obverse head side features the second definitive portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, created by the sculptor Arnold Machin OBE and introduced on UK coinage in 1968. The Queen is shown wearing the elegant Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, a jewel-studded diadem gifted to Queen Mary in 1893 and later passed down to Elizabeth. Machin's effigy is admired for its clarity and youthful poise, capturing the Queen in her early 40s with a calm, regal expression. Surrounding the portrait is the traditional Latin legend Elizabeth II D bullet operator G bullet operator REG bullet operator F bullet operator D bullet operator 1979, which expands to Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith. This wording connects the modern decimal penny to centuries of British constitutional and religious tradition while clearly displaying the year of issue. On the reverse tail side, heraldic artist Christopher Ironside designed a device steeped in royal symbolism. The badge of the Prince of Wales. 3 white ostrich feathers rise from a gold coronet, and across them runs a ribbon bearing the historic motto Ich diene, a medieval German phrase meaning I serve. This badge has been associated with the Princes of Wales since the 14th century and represents service, duty, and the direct heir to the British throne. Beneath the emblem appears the denomination written in full 1 penny rather than as a numeral, a deliberate stylistic decision that lends the coin an air of formality and continuity with earlier British coinage. From a technical standpoint, the 1979 penny was struck in the original bronze alloy used for all UK decimal pennies until 1992. The composition is approximately 97% copper, 2.5% zinc, and 0.5% tin, producing a warm reddish-brown color that acquires a deep patina as it circulates. Each coin weighs 3.56 grams, measures 20.3 millimeters in diameter, and has a thickness of about 1.52 millimeters with a plain, smooth edge. These specifications were designed to balance durability with easy handling and have made the early bronze pennies especially appealing to collectors who appreciate their heft and traditional metallic character. The Royal Mint, by then operating at its modern facility in Llantrisant, Wales, struck hundreds of millions of 1979 pennies to meet the heavy demand of everyday commerce. High-speed coining presses ensured sharp details and consistent quality across this massive output. Because of these large mintages, circulated examples remain common and usually trade only at face value. However, coins preserved in brilliant uncirculated or proof condition, particularly those from official 1979 mint sets, retain their original luster and command modest premiums among collectors assembling year-by-year decimal collections. Culturally and historically, the 1979 penny reflects continuity amid change. It circulated during a pivotal year when Britain was debating its economic direction and preparing for a new political chapter. Yet the coin itself projected stability, the same trusted bronze alloy, the same McKin portrait introduced over a decade earlier, and the same heraldic reverse linking the currency to the future monarch. In an era of inflation and social shifts, this small coin quietly affirmed the enduring presence of the crown and the reliability of the nation's money. Thanks for watching my videos. Please subscribe my channel for more videos.